Hey guys, it's January 28th, 2014. This is Drudder, Dr. Udder, D. Rudder, etc. And you're looking at a meme that someone sent me, just something funny. Thought I'd put on the screen. When life gets hard, you must have leveled up. I thought it was pretty clever. And that's a cute puppy wolf on the front there too. So I'm just wrapping some things up here before going dormant, and I don't know how long I'll be quiet for, but you can't just do a goodbye video and then disappear instantly. I had a lot of things on the go over the past 6 years, and so I have to wrap up a few things before that happens. As I said in my previous video, when I announced that I was ending the channel, there are going to be a few other videos just to get that all dealt with. So I do have to do the 3rd annual Drudder Heirloom Organic Tomato Seed Giveaway, and I'll be doing that pretty quick, probably within the next week. And I want to talk about some of those 150 or even more messages that I've got since my previous video when I announced the channel is ending. And I have replied to all of them, but 4 or 5 of those people who messaged me, and I did try to message back, had their contact lock on. A reminder, if you've enabled contact lock, you have to turn that off if you want a response from me. So try again if you had your contact lock on and you sent me a message and didn't get one back. That's because I couldn't. I tried to but couldn't. So I've saved my response on my hard drive and I can just copy and paste it to you. So let me know if that's you. Let me know once your contact lock is off. And I'm going to divide some of the messages that I got into the good, the bad, and the weird, and I'll start off with the weird. One question I got was, are you suicidal? Are you going to kill yourself? No, I'm not going to kill myself. That's a serious question, actually, because, you know, I think people are concerned when someone has something really nasty happen to them in their lives. But I think these are people who didn't know me very well. No, I'm not suicidal. I've been through a lot worse than that, and I will continue to go through hard times, I'm sure, as a lot of us are. So, you know, I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not morally opposed to suicide or even euthanasia. I think it's our life to live, and it's our life to not live as well. But no, I have a long and healthy life ahead of me, at least I hope so. And that's all I have to say about that. Another one said, would you sell your subscribers to me? You've got 7,000 people that watch your channel. Can I have them? Yeah, I'll give you good money for it. No. Now for some of the bad, I don't want to dwell too long on it, but it's hard to hear that kind of criticism, and, you know, a lot of it is not correct. I mean, a lot of people just don't know. And I think if you're trying to get under someone's skin, which I think a lot of people like to do, you really have to know the person, or at least know something about them. If you misrepresent their points, or you just have, you know, blatant lies, it's very easy to brush that off. You know, someone could say to me, you're a bad father, and it's like, okay, no, I'm not. I know that I'm not, so that didn't bother me. Someone might say you're an asshole, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, you got me there. I am a bit of an asshole. But anyhow, most of the bad stuff comes from non-regular viewers. I think most of my viewers are aware of who I am, and, you know, I've weeded out a lot of the people that just don't get along with me. So I didn't get a lot of bad comments, but I'll show a few on screen and I'll mention a few. One of them was, your children are starving. How could you do that? How could you let your children starve? Well, just, I think most people know this, but let me tell you, if you're not aware, that my kids are very, very well taken care of. They eat better than me. They live a lot better than me. Yes, they are with my ex, and, you know, let's just say they're okay. They're very okay. Their latest dog cost more than $2,000. You know how long I could live on $2,000? They go on multiple cruises, Disneyland. They've got a big college fund. I pay into it regularly. You know, they're not starving, okay? So that's silliness. I had someone ask me, would you dance with the devil for big money? Let me know. I don't know what that means, but I don't think so. I don't think... Thanks, but no. Someone offered, actually a few people offered, for me to get into Ponzi schemes and multi-level marketing. No thank you. I could have done that long before this channel if that's what I'd wanted to do. No, I don't want to do that. Some people said, you should have paid the rent. Well, no rent was due. If you want to go and look back at the video, I tried to explain it. You know, I didn't show all of it. It was a lot worse than I showed. It was really bad, actually. But I'm keeping some of it as an ace up my sleeve in case those people come after me again. I have the dirt. They said even worse than was on there. But anyway, you should have paid the rent. There was no rent due. I tried to make that clear in the video, but there was no rent due. I owed nothing. I've never been late even a day for rent in my life, and I've lived in many different places and rented in many different places. I've owned several houses as well. I've never been late or never missed a payment on my mortgages. So that's not the issue. I think people didn't really pay attention when they watched that video, and they just want to say, "Oh, you should have paid the rent." Yeah, people should pay rent if they owe rent. There was no rent due. So that's ridiculous to say. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't think they listened carefully to the video. They wanted to hear that I owed rent, and they want to say, Drutter didn't pay his rent. Drutter, bad Drutter. He refused to pay rent. I refused to pay that man any money at the door, but I didn't owe him anything, so that's why I didn't pay him anything. Gas Dorfy Munchie, that's someone that I noticed on Silver Futurist's channel quite a bit, says, get a job, work for the system, stop being a baby, cost $0 to run a YouTube channel, you're pathetic, hurry up and leave YouTube, okay? A guy who runs a Silver channel called Josh Galt said, why the drama, just quit already, get lost then. A guy named Vincent Troy said, scumbag, no thanks to 30 more years of bad advice. I wouldn't piss on you, and if you were on fire, pay your child support. Well, I do. Go hang out with other scum, etc. Vince. So I went and had a look at his channel. I noticed that he went and subscribed to me right after sending me that nice message, and then I went and looked at his channel to see what videos he had so I could see a bit about him. And he has this video of himself uploaded. Can't tell much about him, but he is an American, and he does eat fairly well, I believe. And I'm not sure what he does for a living, but I think he's an importer, just guessing. But he's quite excited about his wives there. But anyway, I think a lot of these people are people who are rooted in the system and are afraid of the change that is happening and the change that continues to come. They want to see things staying the way that they are, and they tend to be people who are rooted in greed, gluttony perhaps, and what I guess can only be described as hatred. So it's no wonder that these people are angry at me and hate me, because they are essentially the exact opposite of me. So I take that as a compliment. I mean, if you are attacked and ridiculed by someone who is disgusting, is that not a compliment? Here's one. People said, you got a free computer. Remember back in 2010? You got a free computer, you were going to sell that gold bar. And then Stellaconcepts came along and said, gold is about to go up, dude. Don't sell your gold bar. He arranged with some of his subscribers, pulled together some cash, and sent it to me. And then my friend, at the time, the SilverWatch, he's not around anymore, but my friend, the SilverWatch at the time, he pitched in a little bit of money as well. And I took that money, and it was almost enough to buy a computer. And I used that computer for quite some time. It served me well. You know, a lot of the parts have broken down since, and it's gone, but you know, I'm very thankful for that, absolutely. So they are right, you know, you did get some free stuff out of your subscribers and out of the community. Absolutely, that is absolutely true. And I remain very thankful for that. The video about that whole episode remains up. You can go back and look on my channel. It's still there. So, yeah, thank you very much for all that support back in 2010. It did serve me well. I think I put it to good use, and I remain thankful for it. Another thing people said was, you spend too much on Burning Man and too much on weed. Well, I haven't been to Burning Man since 2011, and that was a very tough thing to change, because it had been 4 years in a row that I had gone. It became my home. For people who understand Burning Man, it becomes a part of your life, and I had to say no to that because, well, for various reasons, but one of the main ones is I just simply couldn't afford it anymore. And even though it only cost me a few $100 to get down there, I did it very, very, very economically. I just couldn't justify it anymore, and I haven't been to Burning Man since. I would love to go back someday, but I don't know. I don't even know if I can cross the border anymore with all the activism I've done. So, but anyhow, and as for weed, you know, people apparently don't know the costs of these kind of things. I mean, there's people who buy a coffee a day, and it costs a lot more than that. There's people who have one beer, you know, before bed. It costs a lot more for the beer. It costs a lot more for the coffee. How about a few cigarettes a day? It costs a lot more for that. You know, and those things are unhealthy, right? They're unhealthy. So you can judge me for what I do, and you know, I've been very open about who I am and stuff like that, and that makes you a target. That makes it very easy for people to say, you spend too much on this, you spend too much on that, how dare you be poor? Well, you know, fuck off, basically. Another one is, you're a narcissist. Well, I actually have a background in psychiatry, and I do admit that I have narcissistic traits. We all do. There's nobody that has no narcissistic traits, and some narcissism is very healthy. If you had no narcissistic traits, you'd be an unhealthy person. I don't meet the criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. Sorry to disappoint you, but yeah, I do have some narcissistic traits. I do admit that. Another one is, you're lazy. I don't have to tell most of my subscribers this. I think this is probably from someone who doesn't know me. Well, I work harder than most people I know, let's put it that way. And what I do, I think, does more good for others than most people I know. I do know how to make money. I'm not afraid of making money. I once made $35 an hour for several years. That was 10 years ago, so that actually is more like 40 bucks an hour or more now. I was making good money, and I left that behind because I woke up, okay? And when I woke up, I started doing this channel. Now, I can't go back to that particular job or that income level that I had then. I can't go back to that. It's not an option for me. But, you know, working hard, unfortunately, and benefiting others doesn't make a lot of dollars for me. You know, what I've been doing, you don't make money, right? You don't make money on YouTube. There's very few people who do, and some of the things that those people have to do to make that money, like, for example, sucking on Google's balls, is just not something that I do. That's fine for them. I'm not judging anyone for it, but that is not for me, so I'm not doing it. There's other ways to get money on YouTube. I'm not doing those either. And, you know, that's why I'm going dormant. I'm going to just man up, and I'm going to go quiet, and that's my decision. Thank you. But no, I'm not a lazy person. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a lazy person. If you think I'm lazy, then I guess you don't know me, okay? Now, some good. And there was a lot of good. Someone said, actually a lot of people said, you didn't fail. Because I said in my video that I failed. Well, what I meant by that is I failed to complete my mission, okay? Yes, it wasn't a total failure. That's true. But I didn't complete my mission. That's why I said I failed. Another thing people said was, will you at least stay around? And of course, yes, I said that in my video. I said that I'm going to go quiet. I could keep my head down, and I have to be dormant, I guess. But I'm just going to reduce my vulnerability, and I have to go chasing after dollars. But that doesn't mean that I'm disappearing. And I said that I'm going to maintain the channel. I'm going to keep it open, right? So if I can accomplish that, you know, the reduced vulnerability and getting my hands on lots of money, currency, then I am going to return to doing what makes me feel purposed, and that is this. So, but until then, I'm going to have CanadianSilverBullion.com. It will remain open. I haven't advertised it for about a year. It's just essentially open for a few regulars and for my friends. If anyone wants to use it, they can. If the price isn't good for you or whatever, you know, that's the cost of doing it for me. I price it at the cost. I just do it like a volunteer thing. If it's not a good price for you, then don't do it, because you're not doing me any favors by buying that silver, okay? But I'm going to keep it open. If you want to use it, then please do. Another one is BullionBugs on PalTalk. I will still be there. I'm not going to spend as much time in the room as I used to, but it is a great place for fellowship with people who are awake and people who are interested in silver and gold, and it's a good place for finding news. Lots of links get dropped in there. So, you know, that's going to stay open. I don't think I'll be as active, but it will still be there, okay? And private messages on YouTube. Yes, as long as they'll allow us to have private messages, as I said in the last video, I will continue to have that open. I will respond to every message I get. And yes, all the videos are going to stay up on my channel. I think I have 435 or something like that. They'll all stay up. All the links, they're in the description boxes, and all the comments are all going to stay up. It's all going to remain. I consider that a historical record. It is just part of the way that things happened. And if YouTube isn't going to delete it, I'm going to maintain my channel, keep it active, and keep that up. So yes, you can download my videos if you want. There's various ways to download videos off of YouTube using third-party sites. I don't mind if you do that. If you want to keep a backup of any of that, I give you permission to do so. But please don't upload it onto other channels and stuff like that. I want to maintain control over my material myself, and I will keep it up myself, so I don't need your help to keep it up. But you can take a copy of it yourself, absolutely, no problem with that. Another question or suggestion people had is, why didn't you take those Bitcoin offers? And I mentioned a while back that because I had talked about Bitcoin from, well, actually since it crashed to 1 cent, I was talking about it, but I wasn't really advocating it back then. I started really advocating it as it hit $40 and up. But a lot of people, I guess, made a lot of profits on Bitcoin. And then they said to me, a few people have said to me over the last year or so, can I give you some money, some currency? Because I did really well on Bitcoin. And I said no. And people are upset about that. They said, how could you say no and then at the same time say that you're poor? Well, it's because I would not have accepted their losses, so I will not accept their gains. Does that make sense? I only was talking about Bitcoin, not suggesting that anyone buy it. I never said, get into Bitcoin. You know, Da Vinci, he did, and that was a brave move on his part, and it actually worked out. He did say, you know, buy Bitcoin, you have to buy Bitcoin, and that worked out for him because it did go up and it hasn't gone back down below that price. I didn't ever say that, so, you know, I wouldn't take anyone's losses. If someone said, I watched your video and got interested in Bitcoin and then I lost, so I want you to pay me, I would have said, F you. So I'm not going to take someone's money because they did well. Okay, so that's just my principles, and I have integrity. I stick to my principles. Whether those principles and morals are right or wrong, I don't know. They are what I go by, though, and that's called integrity. I stick to that. My integrity means more to me than quick cash, and I'm willing to maintain my integrity, and I'll earn the cash the hard way. That's how I work, and if you don't respect that, fair enough. And yeah, I called $1,000 Bitcoin well before it hit $50. I knew it was going there. I called almost all the pullbacks and ups and downs along the way as well. And you can go back and look at my videos, and that's just what happened. But I promised at the beginning not to speculate. And I have a thing about speculation, because this goes for silver too. Let me go on to an aside here, but can everybody win? Have you ever watched Gregory Mannarino's channel and he says stuff like, I want everybody to win. I want everybody, the whole world, to profit off of this. Does that make sense? Because for every winner, there's a loser. If we're competing against each other in Bitcoin or in silver or anything, if we are trying to buy low and sell high, and then buy low again and sell high again, and buy low and sell high, someone has to be the opposite end of that trade. A lot of people don't even seem to know that. So I have always avoided speculation. I have always just been a stacker. I like to look for the low prices so that I can stack there. But that doesn't mean that I want to sell high and buy low again. I'm not doing that because that's just taking money from my fellow stackers and my fellow investors. It's not a winning strategy for us all. And for people to say that they think that we can all win if we all just make the right trades and stuff, they don't understand how the market works, or they're being intellectually dishonest. Another thing a few people said was, I want to send you some currency, either dollars or Bitcoin or Doge coins or other types of coins and things. I said I wouldn't accept any, and I haven't accepted any. So thank you for the offers. I'm going to earn the money that I need myself. A few people did offer and use the word gift when they offered me a coin of some kind. I don't know what I'll be getting, but I did give them my P.O. box. And thank you in advance to them. I will show those coins when they arrive before this channel shuts down. But I am certainly a believer in gifting. I like to gift myself, and I do graciously accept gifts. So I am thankful for that. I imagine these are going to be silver coins or something. I'm kind of excited to see what it will be. So thank you to them. Another very common suggestion actually was, why don't you ask Mike Maloney for help or for money? Well, I think we all look to someone that we see as richer than ourselves to support causes and activism and stuff that we find worthwhile. It's never ourselves that we want to do that. We always look for someone who has more than us. But there's always going to be someone who's poorer than you, and there's always going to be someone who's richer than you, no matter what. I mean, except for the guy that's the richest guy in the world. There's no one richer than him, right? But there's only one. And there's only one poorest guy in the world too. So almost all of us, there's someone poorer and there's someone richer than us. And I think that we can all support things that matter in our way. We can give a tiny bit. We all have a tiny bit. Even the second from the poorest guy has a little bit of something to give to the poorest guy, okay? So even I donate and gift. I'm very blessed. I have enough food. I have somewhere safe to sleep at night. I have transportation to and from where I need to get to. So I have a lot more than a lot of people, and I do donate to activists. I do donate to artists that I find have the message that I believe in, and I think that's just what I have to do. I'm not asking for any credit for that. I'm just saying, even though I see myself as having little to give, I give a little bit of that little, if that makes any sense. And I don't know Mike Maloney personally. I don't know him personally. We've had professional interactions through YouTube. He answered one of my questions. I think it was, do you like silver porn or something, a few years ago. And, the whole Drutter Divergence thing. And I'm friends with his cameraman and editor and stuff like that. But I don't know him personally. I've never actually been in the same room as Mike. And I respect the guy. He's a successful businessman. You have to respect that about a guy. He's awake, and he's an educator, so I can respect those things about Mike Maloney, absolutely. But I'm not going to ask him for anything. I'm not going to ask anyone for anything, actually. You notice in my last video, I didn't ask for anything, and people still say, you're a beggar. Well, I'm not begging for anything, because I didn't ask for anything. I did ask in 2012. I put my hat out, and I said, would anyone like to put money in the hat for the cause, and I will use it appropriately. I'll never do that again. People in this society, the way it is now, hate you if you ask for anything. If you demand, then they have respect for you. But if you ask, you are a piece of scum, absolute piece of scum. If you charge somebody for something, there's lots of channels that charge to watch their videos, and there's lots of channels that charge to read their blogs, and there's silver gurus and guys out there that are charging $500 a month for newsletters and stuff like that. So apparently in this society you can demand that people pay you, and that's seen as respectable. Or you can charge them for whatever you have to offer, and that's seen as respectable. But if you ask, if it's like a voluntary thing, you are a piece of shit. So no, I'm not going to ask anyone for anything, and I'm certainly not going to ask Mike Maloney for anything, although I do respect him as a person. If he came to me and wanted me to help him run, say, a new division of goldsilver.com, a Canadian division maybe or something, I would absolutely be interested in that. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just saying, I'm not going to ask him for anything. But a lot of people thought, ask Mike Maloney for money. No. Another interesting question I had was, are you mad or are you ending the channel because silver is cheap right now compared to the US dollar? No. The dollar price has never ever been what this is about for me at all. I feel that for those with funds to spare, then this is likely a good spot to either load the boat or at least average into some physical precious metal right now. But no, I'm not angry, and I'm not ending the channel because of the price of silver in relation to dollars. That doesn't make any sense to me. The decision was for the reason that I gave in my previous video, and I said it how I meant it. I tend to say things as I mean them, and I tend to mean the things that I say. So there it was. If you want to go back and look at the video, it's all there for you. You don't have to ask if I'm mad or ending the channel because silver is cheap. And the last question, actually a couple of people asked me this one, and I thought it was kind of cool that someone picked up on that, because I mentioned that I had a hero in my previous video, and so someone said, who are your heroes? And the other person asked, what are heroes to you? And I think that heroes are people that are worth learning more about, and maybe working toward being more like, at least the good parts of them. When I was young, my mom said, "Don't be like me, be like the good parts of me." And same for your dad. Be like the good parts of your dad. And I think that's what a hero is someone that you want to be like their good parts. Because no human is perfect. You're never going to find a perfect human. I'm certainly not perfect. I'm very far from perfect. But I do have some heroes. And the number one, I have to say, is Carl Sagan. The parts of him that I think are, what I respect as a hero are the scientist parts, the skeptic parts, the philosopher parts, and just all around. He was an incredible person, and he is incredibly missed as well. So thank you so much, Carl Sagan, for everything you did for people. Another, and this is in the category of politician, I think most people who know me know what I'm going to say, Ron Paul. And as for artists and activists, I would have to say that Diesel Automatic is my hero. I've only known him for a few months, but what an incredible person, what an incredible guy. And I have a lot of respect for him, and I want to be more like him in a lot of ways. And I think actually over the past month or two, I have become a little bit more like him, and I see that as a very good thing. And lastly, I have to say that my grandpa was my hero. He was an excellent gardener. He was a humanist. He was a very quiet and strong man. And I miss him to this day. So those are my heroes. I gotta say thank you again for all the messages of encouragement. There was so many. It was like people that I hadn't talked to in so long. I didn't know they were even still watching. Friends that I never even knew I had just popped up. It was incredible to read those messages, and I responded to every single one of them. And there was just so much understanding. It was like people got it, and I think people are getting it. It's very encouraging to me. Things are changing. Absolutely, things are changing. I don't think that it's just a matter of me managing to, over time, collect enough people in one spot that it feels like there's a community. I think it's building. I think that people's minds are changing. People are telling me that they've learned so much by watching this channel. And you know what? I've learned so much by doing this channel. So thank you very much. And before the channel goes quiet, I want to do the seed thing. I'm going to give away those tomato seeds again, probably in the next week. I'm going to give some final thoughts on silver in a video, and I am excited to say that the big project that I've been talking about for quite some time, since November, and I thought it would be done by New Year's, but it didn't get done, I think that it looks like that will be happening. So I'm working very hard to get that finished up before the channel goes quiet. And I just have a few bits of news and analysis to round this video out. So for the next few minutes, it will be pretty much like the good old days, and then I'll say, talk to you soon. Here's the daily silver chart for just a little bit of analysis here. And in the last couple of days, we've had a pullback from 20 down into the mid-19s, and that means that we are sort of back into that sideways trading channel that we've been in since 3 months here, beginning of November actually. Pretty much 3 months, pretty sideways action here. And it did look like it was starting to make higher highs here, and now with this lower low, or maybe not quite lower low, but this low anyway, it does look like we're back into that trading range. And the only thing I can say is that it might be a bad sign for the price anyway, because it looked like we were going to break out, and sometimes, as Derek or Endless Mountain would say, those failed moves often become fast moves in the other direction, so there might be a drop, and that drop would probably be back down to the 19 area or so, and might be another test below the 19 area like it was here and here, and it wasn't able to break down. But because of that failed move, that failed breakout to the upside, that might be a sign that we are going to test to the downside now. Going back really long term here to see the entire move up to 50 and back down again to 20, it looks like that level has been hit here. It was 18 there, and then we made sort of a dead cat bounce, tried to get up and couldn't, and then we hit that 19 level, and we're sort of maybe going to retest that 19 level again there. But it does look sort of like a bottomy pattern here, although, like I've said before, the chart doesn't really respond to technical analysis, and it's not really responding to supply and demand of the physical metal either, so don't expect that that is necessarily going to be the case. It can go to, well, it can go to zero, really, if they want it to. Would you be able to buy physical at that price? Obviously not, but that's just how the chart goes. So anyway, it does look kind of bottomy on this. It does look but it has looked bottomy before. I mean, we thought it was a bottom here at 26, but it hit 26 here and here and here and here and then finally broke through it and went down to the 20 level, came up, and now here we are back at that 20 level again. So it's not necessarily the bottom, although with stuff in the news like Germany talking about getting its gold back and saying that they're getting out of gold fixing and accusing the world's gold market of being 100% completely rigged, even more than the LIBOR scandal, which was absolutely massive. And of course, with the silver shortages, the physical metal shortages that are developing, all those kind of things point to, yeah, it's probably going to have to move up first. But first and foremost is the politics and the corruption. And that's what's really in control of this chart. So you really can't predict anything just by looking at the chart or even the fundamentals anymore. And on the US Mint's website here, we have gold sales still going strong. Hasn't beaten last January's record sales for gold yet, but could continue to do so if they will continue to allocate enough gold to meet demand. And down in the silver numbers, we are up to 4.7 million so far, so just under 5. And we'll zip that over to the graph. There it is, we're 7% of the way through the year, and we are just under 5 million ounces so far for the year, which is about half of the total number of ounces sold in 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and a quarter of all the ounces sold in 2008. And we are definitely on the way to making an all-time record again this year in 2014, despite the fact that the price is just down in the dumps here at 20 bucks. But that all depends on whether or not the mint will allocate, i.e. limit, enough eagles to meet demand. Well, we already know they aren't meeting demand. Every eagle that they produce is instantly sold out to their distributors, but if they would meet demand, this would definitely be a record year into the 50, 60, even 70 million ounces probably. But it all depends on how much they allocate and how much they just decide to release to the public, I guess. One thing this is going to do is maybe make it look like demand is coming back down, even though maybe it isn't. Maybe they'll allocate this many or so, or maybe even only this many or so, and it's like, oh, look at that demand. It's much less than it was the last few years. Yeah, sales are calming down. Nobody wants silver. Nothing to see here. The US Mint is now selling their proof eagles, and the first day's sales were about 1/3 of a million proof coins. And these things are at about 3 times the price of a regular eagle. And remember, the only difference between them is these proof eagles are struck twice by the mint. The press comes down twice instead of just once for the regular eagle. So it's, has a nice shiny finish on it because it's pressed twice, but that is the only difference. And well, there is one other difference. The regular bullion eagles are limited in production. They only are going to allocate a certain amount of those for sale, but the proof eagles are unlimited in sales. So there can be any number. Last year there was almost 1 million of them made, but if there's a higher demand for them this year, then there will be even more made. So let's recap. The mint does not have enough silver bullion to sell enough regular silver eagles to the public, and is allocating those, i.e. limiting how much they will distribute, but they have enough bullion to meet as many as required for the proof eagles, which they can sell for 3 times the amount at almost no extra work or cost to them. Very briefly, there's the Bitcoin chart. Each one of those bars is a 3-day period. And as you can see, for a few weeks, it's been ranging between 900 and 1,000. That's a lot of stability. And I noticed that the volume on trading is actually very down. And the number of times you hear about Bitcoin in the mainstream media is also really down. So for it to be holding up high around $900 or even $1,000 per Bitcoin is pretty darn good when there's no hype and there's not really any volume. So that's interesting to see. And I think if the hype and the volume start picking up again, you'll see that break above that $1,200 high and go to the next high, maybe $1,500, $2,000 or higher. In fundamental news for Bitcoin, I heard recently that some hotels and some strip clubs and so forth in Vegas are now accepting Bitcoin. So that's interesting. Here's a coin I'd like to show you. A friend of mine asked me to pick one of these up locally and ship it out to him, so but that means you get to see it before it goes. It is the 20 for 20 goose, I guess, and it's a pretty nice looking coin for a 20 for 20. The front is the same as ever, but yeah, that's a nice design. I like it. But I'll give you my final word on these 20 for 20s. when they first came out, I thought they were quite good, and they were touted as currency. You know, you could spend them if you wanted to, so the Mint basically said, why would you not want to trade $20 of paper for $20 of coin that has some silver content to it? Of course, there's only about 1/4 of an ounce in each one, but there's no silver at all in a $20 bill or in a digital $20, so why not? And the shipping was even free back then. It's not anymore, but you could just take $60 and get $60 worth of silver coinage. So that's what I did for a little while there. But there was a story a while back where a guy tried to take it to a bank and they said, no, we won't accept it. And then they asked the Mint, the Royal Canadian Mint, for clarification, and the Mint said, no, it's not spending money. Whatever spending money is, they said it's not spending money. It is currency and it's legal tender, but that doesn't mean that people have to accept it, which is just garbage to me. I mean, what is the point of putting $20 on the coin if it's not really a $20 coin? It's pretty pathetic that the whole purpose of these things was to get people into collecting coins by saying, hey, it's not costing you anything. If you don't like it, you can always just spend it. But you can't. So what the Mint is doing is they're taking 1/4 of an ounce of silver, which costs them about $4 or $5, or even less maybe, and they're putting a $20 stamp on it and spending maybe 50 cents in pressing fees or whatever, and a little capsule to put it in. And so for a total of maybe $5 to $6, they're getting $20 plus shipping for these things. So it's really just robbing the public, because they're telling the public, hey, you can spend it, but when it comes down to it, you actually can't. We've asked them and they said, no, you can't spend these. The only way you can spend it is if the person on the other side of the transaction says, yes, I will accept that as though it were $20. But it isn't. So these are for coin collectors, in my opinion. These are just for coin collectors. And they really scammed us in the beginning with these things. And that just leaves a really sour taste in my mouth for the Royal Canadian Mint. They have a quality mint, they make nice products, but their business ethics are just about non-existent. And, well, hey, what can you expect? They are a branch of the Government of Canada, after all. How about one last silver porn, guys? This is my stack as it currently sits. These are all coins that came from friends that were, well, not all from friends, but all these coins have a memory. You probably recognize some of these from past videos. Memory associated with every one of these, but that's really it. I don't have bullion, I don't have a stack, I have a coin collection, and I am thankful for that. But that's what I have right now. Alright, that is it for now. And as promised, talk to you soon.